Dive into our current open grant opportunities. So the first one that might be the most time sensitive one is our Lena Grow opportunity. We've had some providers that have participated in this opportunity already. We're on cohort 2 currently, and we have one more cohort to go. We only have a few classroom slots available. Annie is our Lena Grow guru. She is our manager over this program and has been doing an amazing job with our friends over at Lena. So if you're interested in this, it is a professional development opportunity. The links that you see there, one will take you to the Lena website so you can learn a little bit more about it. The YouTube video, though, is really helpful for giving you a really quick overview of what it is. If you are interested in this opportunity, please reach out to Annie directly. Her email address is aboyd@elc-marion.org. Let me pause and see if we have any questions about that. I'm going to stop after each one so that, oh, thank you for the birthday wishes. I'm a Gemini, true to it, for those of you that have known me for the past 20 years. Let's see. I'm trying to pull out my questions box. Let's see. Perfect. Okay. Some of these, let's see. Oh, thank you, everybody. Okay, no questions about Lena. Next, let's talk about the big elephant in the room, the furniture mini grant. Okay, so for the past few months, we've been talking about this and how we're rolling it out. This is one of the actually, I'm going to say this is the biggest venture that I've ever been on with a grant opportunity for providers in my career here at the coalition. Those of you that have been with us for as long as I've been here, you would probably agree with me to give each provider such an opportunity to replace the furniture in their classrooms. It's a big undertaking, and here's what we wanted. We didn't know what this was going to look like. We didn't know how much you needed or if you would even really go, yeah, I want to do this. We thought you would, but we didn't anticipate the response we got right away. So originally, you'll remember we were going to do $15,000 per classroom, and we had a really, really generous budget to support a majority of our corrected classrooms with us. Well, as your requests started rolling in, we realized very quickly that if we were to continue on, we were going to end up not being able to serve some of our providers. And I felt, and I advocated for this and have shared it at the last meeting, that we need to be equitable with this process. I would rather all of you get a few pieces that you can really use to replace old things in classrooms than only a few providers get a bunch of stuff. So we needed to make this a way where everybody benefited from this. So that being said, some of you learned this prior to me being able to share this with you, and I do apologize for that. That's not how we typically would do things. But we did have to reduce the amount down to $5,000 worth of approved classroom material. So the changes that are big to this grant is that, so we reduced it from $15,000 per classroom to $5,000 per classroom. So that does mean some of you are getting emails that says you've been approved for $20,000. It's because you have 4 specific classrooms that you applied for. Let's see. I will answer that question in just a second. If you go over, the coalition will pay for $5,000 worth of approved classroom furniture. Plus, we will pay for shipping on top of the $5,000. So with that being said, you're actually going to get more than $5,000 worth of material because what's incorporated into that is the coalition's discount. So we negotiated discounts with each one of our vendors, and those vendors are honoring those discounts as you're shopping for your materials. Now, you do have the opportunity to go over your $5,000 if you choose to do so, and that would still allow you to take advantage of our discount. But anything over $5,000 before shipping would be your responsibility to pay for. You can use a credit card. If you have an account with whichever vendor you've been assigned to, then you can work it out with your rep there. But that is how we would work that out if you choose to go over your $5,000 per classroom again. I talked about this a little bit on the last one, I believe, on the last provider meeting, but we decided to, originally we had a very robust list that included dramatic play and sensory furniture items. We decided to forego those items for now because we felt like it was more of a necessity for you to have those everyday items that you might not be able to purchase. It might be easier for you to do a small fundraiser for a new dramatic play kitchen than it would be for you to say buy 6 tables for a classroom or whatever it is that you're trying to replace or upgrade. So right now we're still looking at keeping those dramatic play and sensory furniture items to just the necessities that are they are on the shopping list, and we're putting your dramatic play wishes to the side because we are going to keep track of who's asked for what, because that'll help us plan for the future. That if you all need that stuff, that helps us plan. If there is funding left, we will go back and look at it and see if we can send everybody who has requested anything something from their list. So let me stop for a second and go back to these questions. So one of the questions is, if we've already submitted our cart to the vendor and didn't follow these changes, when will we know if we're rejected? What if we couldn't spend the 5K on the tables and chairs for a VPK class? So we have to go with what is on your application. So if when you applied, you put on there, if you only asked for tables and chairs for a VPK class, but maybe you had some dramatic play stuff in there, then that would go to the side, and we'll go back and look at that if we have funding available at the end. So it's the maximum per classroom is $5,000 if you didn't spend it on the tables and chairs. If there's anything else, maybe you'd like some wooden blocks or something like that. I don't know how close you came to your $5,000. But yes, cubbies, shelves, somebody else asked, will this include shelves and cubbies? Yes, all of that stuff stayed on the list. The only thing that was removed was anything that would be considered dramatic play. So like your kitchen sets, I don't have an application pulled up in front of me, but there was like 4 or 5 different items that we had found that would fit into that dramatic play component. But we left everything else on there, such as like reading nooks we left on there, shelving units, wooden blocks we left on there because honestly, there's a shortage of wooden blocks in our classrooms right now. So we left some things on there that were not as easy for you to acquire as we looked at spaces. And remember, we came out to see quite a few providers. Our staff did a visit earlier this year to quite a few of you all, and we walked through and we got to see firsthand what you were dealing with as far as your furniture that you're working with, and you all were making it work, believe me. Let's see, let me go back up to questions. Okay, so if you've already submitted it, you'll know we're trying to process these pretty quickly. I'm actually getting ready to jump on some of these through the end of the week outside of different meetings that I have to be in. I'm going to start approving some. If we have lots of questions, or if you really you're struggling with it, and you've submitted it and you're really worried, just let me know. I'll go back in and look at it. Okay, answered that. I had dramatic play stuff on, yep, and we saved your list. We saved all of it so that we could go back. Will it get rejected and allow us to redo it? Not if you purchased everything outside of on your application. If you purchased your tables and chairs that you would ask for, we're not going to reject it. We're going to push it through so that you can get those. If we haven't heard anything, does that mean we got approved? Pretty much, yes. Our staff have been going through. I think that when I tell you all, there were so many applications that came in, and it seemed like it was kind of slow at first. Like we got a handful at first, and then all of a sudden it was like, boom, like 150 classrooms were submitted overnight. So our staff are going through them piece by piece. The only thing that would really make us rejected is if, let's say you put that it's an infant classroom, that you're applying for, and you ask for 6 tables. We're going to say, why would you need 6 tables for an infant classroom? If it doesn't make sense to go into that classroom, our staff are very trained on, developmentally appropriate pieces for each class. So we're going to look at that kind of stuff. Let's see. I've been trying to reach out to someone in regards to the furniture grant. Joseph he's our IT guy that's been setting you up with vendors while Lizzie Bench has been approving your applications. They're kind of tag teaming this. Okay, let's see here. Didn't have the answer. Tabitha, I'll try to call you when we're done, okay? I will try to call you when we're done, as soon as we're done. I'm just giving myself a note here. Okay, so let's see. The next information that we got is I limited my application after I heard about budget changes. If there's leftover funding, can we ask for things like blocks now that we know the new limits? We'll do the best that we can. What I may do is, like a couple of you that have been real active in the chat, I'm probably going to reach out to you and just get some clarification of what you're actually needing so that we can do the best we can to meet what you're looking for. So I wrote down names. I'm writing down names. Okay. What if you received the email from the vendor with your username but have yet to receive an email from ELC? So if you got your vendor username and password, you can move forward. That means that you did get approved. And sometimes it's weird because as we're putting you, like we're approving your applications, we're putting you on a list to the vendor. The vendors are getting really quick because they want you to go ahead and purchase. So as long as you stick to what you put on your application, outside of course of the dramatic play and sensory items, then you can go ahead and start your process. Is the 5,000 what everyone that has a username and their selected vendor approved? Yes, 5,000 is your cap for each classroom at this point. Thank you. Can you call me too? Yes, I'll put you on my list. You guys are gonna have to be patient with me because I mean my list is getting long. Let's see, can you give me a call? Yes. Okay, you're number 6. Let's see, if we requested a new cot and crib sheets using Kaplan, we are finding that those items are substool with handles. Where could we find those? Okay, so let's talk about vendors. So when I asked for this process, and when I say this process was huge, it was a huge procurement piece on our part where we had to follow all the rules when you're spending this kind of money, and we have to be very, very diligent, as I'm sure you are aware and appreciate, and that is how we do things around here. But we have to follow every key piece of procurement. So at the same time that I released the applications to you all, I also released the RFP, which is a request for proposal, to our vendors. And on your applications, I ask you, who are vendors that you prefer to shop with? I couldn't, and on the application it says this, I can't guarantee that you will get that vendor. It was on a first come, first served basis if we were able to assign you to a vendor. Once, as applications came through and vendors got full, we had to move to the next vendor and the next, and so on and so forth, to make it equitable across the board and to allow you to get your items on time. So I'm not sure if you're telling me that the items that you were looking for are not available with your vendor, or maybe you are one that I also need to call. But I researched the items that I put on that list very extensively to make sure each vendor had a type of that item available. So while it may not be exactly the one that you saw with, like, well, in here it says something with a handle, a step stool with handles. Hopefully each one of our vendors does have something that you will work for your classroom and that you like. For out of county as well, yes it is, as long as you're contracted with us and in good standing. Are changing tables considered dramatic? No, they are not. Changing tables are considered a necessity. Okay, and I think the next information is a follow-up. So you're telling me that your vendor doesn't carry what you were looking for. So I'm going to put you on my list and we're going to talk about that because I want to find out a little bit more from you, okay? Let's see. All right, I'm also going to put you on my list is getting long, you guys. Okay. Let's see here. And that is it so far. Okay. So we talked about that piece. We talked about all of the furniture mini grants. So we're not taking any more applications at this time. So if somebody didn't get their application in before the cutoff date, I'm sorry, at this point, there's not anything I can do about it. Got you. The last person that just asked me to give them a call, I sure will. All right, so basically what is happening where we're at right now with the furniture mini grant is you are starting to get emails from our vendors that tell you how to log in and shop, okay? You're gonna go ahead and complete that. The coalition staff then, we're already starting to see them come in, so thank you for those of you that are going ahead and shopping quickly. We are going in and approving it based on your application, and then it'll get shipped directly to you. Now, once you get it, what we are going to need you to do is make sure your inventory is intact, so no damages or anything like that. If there are damages, you're going to want to go ahead and call the company yourself immediately and let them know. Make sure you take pictures. And then we're going to ask you to sign off on most of your items, if not all of them, should come with a packing list. Your packing list, we're going to ask you just to initial and date that you received the item, and then we're going to ask you to upload it into probably Blue Jean would be the best at this point, and that way we can get it and we can pay the vendor because you received your material. And don't worry, you don't have to necessarily remember that as you get your items. If we don't hear back from you or get something that says, hey, we got it and everything is good, we will ask you to submit those. So just hang on to those packing lists. I don't see any more questions. So we do need to place these orders as soon as possible. So watch your emails. Please check your spam just in case, because coming from a vendor directly, they may not be on your approved list and might go to spam. So the last question I just got is, when we're adding the items to the shopping cart, do we just submit the cart itself with all the classrooms in one cart? I believe so. The vendors are aware and have set up your accounts individually based on the number of classrooms you are approved for. So I believe so. I will tell you, I haven't seen the process from that end, from that side. So best thing I can tell you is try it. If something goes awry, just let one of us know. Myself, Joseph, Lizzie, and the team. If you can't get a hold of one of us, I mean, Lily, Janet, everybody is being really good about letting us know to contact somebody. All right, and I'm gonna take you off the list since you didn't need me to call you. The last one that just sent a message. Okay, so let's keep going. Let's keep going down to the next opportunity. And I tried to break these up by a cute little flower garland because there are so many. The next one is world-class workforce, recruit and train new teachers. This is a bonus that gets paid directly to your teachers. You would apply through WebAuthor like we did, I want to say in April of 2023 was the last time we started this particular process. You would go in basically to WebAuthor. I did put the link in here, and you would just basically, you're filling out the information for anybody you hired on or after July 1st of 2023. So this is going all the way back to July 1st, 2023. And you're going to see that trend repeat with a majority of the rest of these that we are going to go over here in just a minute. And I know I'm already out of time, but I'm going to keep going. So if you want to stick with us, thank you. If you have to go, I understand, and this is being recorded, so you can fast forward to this section and just listen to this on our YouTube channel in a few days once it gets uploaded. So recruit and train, that's the recruitment bonus paid to your staff once they have that level 2 background screening and they go through those health and safety courses that are required to be employed by you within a certain amount of time anyway. Those teachers get paid directly the $700 and the $500 stipends. The expiration date for this is June 30th of this year. So that's pretty important. If you have staff that you would like to award with this grant, please go ahead and figure out who that might be, and we can move forward. I'm watching questions. So I don't see any further ones. This next piece is the World-Class Workforce Child Success Grant Performance. Whew, say that a lot, that's times fast. The details are here in the middle. Under the details, there is no action required on behalf of you all at this time. I'm just sharing this with you because you may be one of our 6 possible eligible providers that participated in this grant back in, I want to say, April, May, and June of last fiscal year. If you participated in this, we're going to be reviewing your class score. If you increased your class score or achieved a 5.0 or above, or increased your class score by 0.05 or more, your director and your teachers that participated are going to receive a monetary bonus. You don't have to do anything for this. Our staff are going to do the research, and I'll just have our team reach out to you if you are one of those lucky winners. Now, the caveat to this is that the teachers, they need to be the same teachers. So we have to look and see who participated in this grant last year, and those are the teachers that would receive the performance bonus. If I can do all of them, if you have new teachers in the state, I will, but I'm getting clarification from the state on that to make sure that that's allowed. Okay, let me see if there's any questions for this. It doesn't look like it. So this one you don't have to do anything for. The next one is the World-Class Workforce Observer Director Training Grant. Another one, say that 5 times fast. So this year, Lily and Melissa have taught a couple of our class observer training classes, and quite a few of you all have participated and are eligible for this grant. And some of you may have taken them not with our staff. You might have taken them with somebody else, and it could be a little bit off on this one. I'm not sure if it was in February or March that they taught it this spring. I'm sure Lily or Melissa can let me know. But we just finished one last week, and we did the other one earlier this year. And those of you that participated and finished the class, you do not have to take the certification for it or have to, take that final exam. You are eligible for this grant, so I would highly encourage you, go ahead and log into WebAuthor and apply for this funding. It's basically free money for something you already did, and it's a very generous bonus. Okay, now that is if your composite score was below a 5. That's one thing I do need to put a caveat on. If your composite score was above a 5, unfortunately, you don't qualify for this particular grant, but it's worth looking at. I'm going to see if no questions. Okay, I'm going to keep going. The next one is the World Class Workforce Continuous Quality Improvement Grant, or we lovingly call it CQI. CQI is a very generous grant that pays up to $19,800 if the qualifications are that your site got a class composite score of 5 or above on the most recent class observation, and that your team, including your director, completed 24 hours of in-service training since July 1st of 2023. So there are many of you all that I felt like when we first introduced this grant last spring of 2023, you were a little intimidated by this. I can't blame you. We were too. However, I know with the new health and safety courses that came out, there was a lot of training required. A lot of your staff have gone through it because it's required. I would encourage you to look at first look at your class composite score of your most recent observation. If it's 5 or above, then you're going to look at all of your staff. Now, the thing with this is all of your staff plus your director must have the 24 hours of training. It doesn't necessarily have to be in the same training. Some of your teachers may have taken the same training and some may have gone a different route. But if all of them got 24 hours of training, including your director, apply for this grant so you can get this chunk right here, $19,800 for your site. It's encouraged that you give your staff a bonus if you require that, or if you apply for this. I encourage you, reward your staff, because that's a lot of training on top of everything else that we've had to do. So I put down here the new required health and safety training does count towards this grant. So let me pause because I did see something come in. If we don't have an SR class, does our VPK class count for these grants? Yes. Yes, it does. Now, when you're thinking about that, though, I want you to keep in mind, it's not, so if you were to apply for this particular grant right here, the CQI grant, it would be all of your, not just your VPK staff, it would be all of your staff that have to have met this 24 hours of training, including your director, okay? So that's something to keep in mind. It's just the eligibility pieces that you have to have a current contract with us for school readiness or VPK. Hopefully I answered that one. Okay. Next one. These are the two that I think a lot of people have been waiting for. Workforce Initiative Application 1 is staff onboarding. Application 2 is that pays your staff directly just for their time that they've been with you and their education. Okay, let me pause and go back up. So is this another CQI or the same one as before? It's the same one as before. We have funding and we are allowed to continue that on. So this CQI, if you got it before though, you would not be eligible to apply for it again. Okay, so if you got it before, you would not be able to apply again. Let's see. And that's pretty much for all of these. Like if you have staff that already got these grants before, we have our system tracks who received the funding previously. We can't do a second one. Okay. So I'm going to scroll real fast. I'd like to go down if whoever's controlling our beautiful screen, if you could go down to application 1 for me. Well, okay, we're going to skip, keep going, keep going. Keep going, a little more. Okay, we're going to talk about that in just a second. That's going to be the last one I talk about. I put them accidentally out of order. Could you keep going to the next one? Okay, so here is application 1. So application 1 allows us to pay you, childcare provider, you, the site directly, for your employee onboarding that you've done since July 1st, 2023. Okay, so there, and I think my dates are a little, I think my application deadline on this says June 20th, and I think on the worksheet above I put June 25th. As long as we have them by the 25th, whichever date is after, that will be fine. We just need to have them so we can process as quickly as possible. So basically to describe this one to you is you find your site capacity range here, and here's my question to you. Have you hired any teachers since July 1st, 2023 who are still with you now? If the answer is yes, then I would highly encourage you to look at this opportunity because it's a little bit of money for you. So for our sites with a capacity range, that's your enrollment capacity, private pay, it doesn't matter to me, school readiness, VPK, your capacity, your overall capacity is 0 to 12. You're eligible for, and it's the same amount, you just are eligible for more employees the higher your capacity goes. So if your capacity range is 0 to 12 and you hired 2 people since July 1st of 2023 up until now, and they're still with you, apply for this grant, put their information on page 2. So you're going to fill out page 1 just with your demographic information. Page 2 is going to include, we just need a summary of their background screening because that shows when they became eligible to work with you. And then we don't need all the details. We just need to see that it came. And then we do need an employment application or something that shows you hired them and the date that you hired them. I have to be able to show that you hired them on or after July 1st, 2023. So could you scroll down to the second page of the application for me? There you go. Okay, so you're going to put the staff that you want to claim on this grant right here on this application. Now, these that are uploaded, they're not fillable yet. I'm going to make them fillable after this call. We're going to send this out in an email follow-up to you so that you have them. I'm also going to send them out separately. Right now, they're all part of one packet that we're going through, scrolling through, and I want to make it easier for you to navigate. So I'll break them apart and make them all fillable because these can all be submitted electronically. So here you're just going to put the staff name and their position. So are they a teacher or are they a director? When did you hire them? And then these other 2 questions, excuse me, are required of the state. So they want to know, are these teachers that you hired, are they pursuing continuing education, or do they currently hold any of those degrees over there? So we just need to know a yes or no there for each teacher. Okay. Then with this application, you're going to do page 3. If you can scroll down for me to page 3. You're just going to do the assurances. Those are the typical assurances that you filled out for everything before. You can electronically sign this. I'll make sure it's available when we send it out to everybody. And then you're going to check that little box. That little box says that you did sign it electronically and that it's the equivalent of your handwritten signature. Then with this application, you're going to upload it to your document library on your provider profile. There is a Workforce Initiative Grant application folder. You're going to put it in there. From there, I will need you to send an email over to ARPA at ELC-Marion that says, I have submitted this application. And I'm going to ask you again for your patience because we're working through a lot of grants, as you can see, just us walking through this. So when you send us that, because we don't get alerts through your provider profile, we don't know when you've uploaded something. So it is really good for us to know that you've uploaded it there, and then we will go and find it. Okay. The next application, if I can just have you keep scrolling down, this one is the one I think a lot of you have been waiting for. So this is the application that allows your staff to receive compensation for the time that they've been working in the industry, from the time they've been working in the industry until now with you, and for their education. So this application is going to be for each individual teacher that you want to apply for this. Now, here's what I will say about that, because I think we're going to get this question. If you have a teacher that you applied for previously, and they were at that time maybe pursuing a degree, and they have since now finished that degree, are they eligible for the money they didn't receive before? And the answer is yes. So you can apply for that teacher. That teacher can apply with their newly found education, and get that reimbursement. Okay, get that payment. So let's walk through this application, because when we first rolled this out, we had a lot of questions about what does this mean? How do I base my time? When do I count it from? So talking about time, this right here, and so this is going to be what tells you the very first, yep, sorry, I'm looking at 2 different screens. The chart here shows you the length of time on the left-hand side and the base grant award for that. So this is going to start to stack up, so you can start to build this grant for each one of your staff. So 30 days to 6 months. So if you just hired somebody, hopefully they're starting 30 days to 6 months. If you hired them June 1st, I'm very comfortable with it. If you hired them June 5th, let's talk and let's see if I can get approval to get them that minimum base award. So to 6 months, they would start off with $250. If that person has a CDA or FCCPC, it stacks up to, you're going to add the 150. If they have a director's credential, you're going to add $250. If they have the VPK endorsement on their director credential, they get an additional $300. This is a big deal. So then if they have any special endorsements, that is like there's a special needs endorsement and trauma informed care, endorsement, they get $100 for each one of those. Now, please know you are going to have to submit those copies of the certificates with them, okay? And then for the length of time employed, we will need an attestation of employment. And I don't think I included that with this, but I'm going to write it down so I can make sure we send it to you. We have a form you can fill out on behalf of your staff. I would even be fine with you using that for when we talked earlier on the first one, to show proof of their employment with you. you're attesting as to when you hired them. I think trust is a good thing. We trust but verify, so you do have to give us that backup documents. Okay, so yeah, for this one that's on the screen that you're seeing now, so Workforce Initiative Application 1, when we're asking you for the employment application, you can also do a verification of employment if you don't have an application that you have your people fill out. So yeah, thank you. Okay, so going back down to application number 2, the first page is the demographics that we collect from you. Really what we need is page 2 and 3 for each teacher, okay? We need at least one of these, page 1. And what we used to have is we would have a provider, okay, I'm gonna pull Michelle Marino, I hope you don't mind. Family ties, let's say. I'm going to use you as an example. So Michelle would fill this out for her staff. She would only fill out page 1 once. And then for each staff member, and for herself, if she didn't apply the last time, she would fill out pages 2 and 3. Okay, so I only need page 1 once. Page 2 and 3 are for each individual staff. So here you're going to want to work with your teachers, and you might even print this off and give pages 2 and 3 to each teacher and have them give it back to you by a time certain, and then you can see you can see what they gave you and then upload it. So you're going to want to go through all of these steps here. Now, if it's a teacher that's already received funding directly from us, we do not need a direct deposit or a W-9 if they've already received funding from us. Now, if you don't know, we will need those two. So I'll make sure that the W-9 and the direct deposit, which I believe are on our website, but we'll make sure that they're available to you. I'm writing that down. So you're going to want to review the application.
I was going to check the website, sorry.
Yeah, no, you're good. And actually this says, and please know, I did just update this based on when we did this before. Page 4, there isn't a page 4 anymore. I consolidated everything to 3 pages. So if we can scroll, so you're just going to go through the application. Here's the qualifications. We have an attestation for each one. So actually, okay, bear with me, guys. Page 1 and 2, I would only need that one time for your provider site, okay? Your director is going to sign page 2. Then page 3 is what you're going to give your teachers. So this is your staff name, then their phone number and their email. And I'm sure you can imagine why we need that, because let me tell you, paying teachers directly is really, really hard when you have thousands of them. And what happens is they will change their bank, or they will not, they're not reachable, or we can't, somehow a check gets returned to us and we have got to be able to find them. And I'll answer your questions in just a second. Let's see. Okay, let me pause and answer questions before I walk through the rest of this application. So clarifying, application number 2 only goes to new staff who did not receive the funding last year, or if they have changes to their credentials. Correct, yes. Yes, if they did not get this last year, it would be anybody you hired on or after, well, yeah, on or after July 1st, 2023. And then if you have teachers that have been with you and got this grant before, but since then they've achieved further education, they can apply just for the education part, okay? So then somebody said, again, if we received it before, we can't get it again, right? Correct, you cannot get it again if you've already gotten it, but if you did get additional education, then you would be eligible. And that does not mean like renewing your CDA or FCCPC or director's credentials. Those things you would have already gotten credit for having them the first go round. Now, let's say you had your director's credential, but you didn't have the VPK endorsement. You can apply for that $300 because now you have the endorsement and you didn't have it before. All right, so those are the questions. Let me go back to the grant application. So basically, staff name goes on the top, their phone number, their personal email, and their hire date. Now, you can either choose one or two ways to verify. We will send you the verification letter sample that will just have you fill it out, and you submit it with this, or you can do pay stubs. We seem to have gotten a lot of verification letters instead of pay stubs because they're just easier, honestly. And then you're going to check which boxes does this person fall into: 30 days, 6 to 12 months, 1 to 3 years, 3 to 5 years, 6+ years. If there are any school board employees on the line that we had this question before, what does a year count for you all? It would be school year. So it's not calendar years. It would be were they, with you in the school years. Now, here's something else. If you have a teacher that you hire over the summer and they only work with you for the summer, they can't apply through both entities. They can only either apply with you as a private provider that you're employing over the summer, or they can apply as a teacher with the Marion County Public School System in the VPK program. Okay, so education pieces, we would definitely need backup documents for anything that you check off here that you are wishing for your teacher, that your teacher is wishing to apply for this grant for. So CDA or FCCPC, director credential with VPK endorsement, any special endorsements, if they have them, we would need the backup documentation or transcripts to show that. Same with the degrees. And then we do need a signature. It can be electronic. They just need to sign that box. So let me stop and see if we have any questions. And then I only have two things to cover with you. No additional questions. Okay, so close your eyes. I'm going to ask my driver on the screen to scroll back up to our document here to, let's see, page 5. Page 5 talks about the curriculum reimbursement grant. Keep going, one more up. There you go. So we still have funding. Yeah, you'll get there. We still have funding if you are interested in purchasing new curriculum for your classrooms. If you purchased curriculum but you didn't purchase it for everybody, remember you do have to have training. I know it is a lot. It is a lot. We had a comment, woo, it's a lot to go through. We do self-funding, so if you want to take advantage of this, now is the time. You do need to purchase it by June 30th, the application and your receipts. And when I talk about receipts, please know we need very clear receipts showing which classroom you purchased curricula for and the name of the curriculum. We have to be able to match these up to the list of approved curricula. We can make sure that we send that out to you too if you need it. And if you're I'm not going to send the curricula list out again, but if you are one of those providers that didn't take advantage of it and you need that list, just let me know and we'll get it for you, because we've sent it out a lot of times and this email is going to be pretty hefty when it comes out with a lot of stuff on it. And so if you are interested in curriculum reimbursement, yes, you can. Just make sure it's on the approved list. There is a new school readiness list out. Another way you can look is by looking at your provider profile on the curriculum list there. There's a whole list in your profile of approved curricula. Any of those, as long as you're purchasing the right, the most current or most currently approved edition of it, and also make sure it comes with professional development. That is one caveat with this. And then the very last thing is I do still have a couple of slots open for professional coaching for directors. So if you are a director and you would like 6 hours of one-on-one professional coaching with a coach out of, we have hired a coach that works with your director. And when we say a professional coach, you're like, well, what does that mean? Like, are we playing t-ball? No, the coach will actually help you work through situations that you're facing. So maybe an example I can give as a director, if one of the things, oh, thank you. We just had somebody who went through it, said, I highly recommend the professional coaching. Maybe you're a director and you are struggling with getting your staff to show up. right? You're having some morale issues. Your teachers don't want to come to work. You're kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place because you can only pay them what you can pay them, but you need to really work this out. And it would be beneficial. It's almost like therapy, where it's beneficial to talk to somebody who knows the industry. So our coach was a director at one point in her career. And she can help you brainstorm. She can help you come up with some ideas. She can help you be accountable for implementing those ideas, and maybe just give you some guidance and other things, or go through what you're going through, and help. So it's not a scripted thing. It is individualized. If you are interested in that option, I think I have one current application that was submitted back a little while ago, but don't worry, if you're on the call, I will be reaching out to you to let you know when the next cohort will start. I have a few more spots available. So if you would like to take advantage of that, the very first or the next page in your packet after this one is the coaching application. Now that is currently fillable. You can fill that out today, send it back over to me if you know how to get it out of this packet, or you know what, send the whole packet back to me, I don't care. So if you are interested in that, slots are limited, very limited right now. Let's see. A vendor, can I get a copy of the approved curriculum vendor options? Sure, I would just need a little more information, Jamie. If you could give our team your, or maybe put it in the chat, your contact information and who you're a vendor with, we'll be happy to connect with you. And that is it for me. That's a lot. Thank you for sticking around. That was an extra 30 minutes of talking about ways you can get money, though, and resources for your site. So I appreciate you hanging on with us. I'm going to go make a whole bunch of phone calls. Let me see if there are any more questions before we go. Oh, thank you. I try. I've been practicing this for, well, I've been writing it, living it, just like you guys have for 2 years. The feedback I got was wonderful information, clearly laid out. I want you to take this though and really use it, because it is a lot. Kind of go through it and, you know, make it yours, write on it, print it out if you need to, write on it, put the ones that you're interested in pursuing, and hopefully it'll help you make a plan, because this stuff is going to happen real fast. All right, guys, no more questions for today, it looks like. I'm gonna go make my phone calls. I'll talk to some of you really soon.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, bye-bye.
Jamie, are you still on the line? Okay, I see your message now. Okay, Jamie. Thank you. My name is Liliana Howard. I'm the Professional Development Manager, and I'll reach out to you. Not a problem. Hello, Ms. Sosa. You need help about the creative curriculum? Lovely stars and hearts, yes. Okay, I can give you a call, Ms. Sosa. Let me wrap up the provider meeting and make sure that it's processing so it can go on YouTube. And I'll give you a call, okay? You're very, very welcome. All right, if there are no further questions, I'm going to go ahead and end this meeting. Everybody have a wonderful day.